Hi there, it is Ed. Welcome to episode 22 of the classic traveler adventures of Anselm the Scout. Last time, as you recall, we determined that transporting a psionic individual in this subsector is illegal. So Anselm has committed a crime, probably even more of a crime because he did bring Hormaz, the psionic individual in question, to a naval base. So the determination was made that this was a serious enough crime that they were going to take Anselm to Vilmork. Now, kind of strange that they would do that, but because of his dad Godfrey's history with dealing with Andoria and being accused of treason and things like that, they are taking extra precaution. He will get a trial, but they're going to put him on Vilmork while he's awaiting trial. I have a feeling also because of his dad's Godfrey escape from Vilmork, they're being extra overly cautious with Anselm. Anyway, we also found out from Tara, the psionic individual who is stationed there at the small naval base, that she was not able to find out a lot more about what was going on, but she was going to try to help Hormaz escape so he would not be incarcerated on Vilmork. Will this plan come to fruition? We shall find out as we rejoin Anselm. First thing we need to do, as always, is update our lists and our chaos factor. And I feel like after last time, even though everything's still kind of chaotic, I still feel like it wasn't as chaotic as it could have been. So I am going to drop the chaos factor down to 7, which is a bit more manageable, to be honest. 9's a bit chaotic. I think that's the word we could use. So we're going to drop the chaos factor down to 7. Let's see. Now, we still have the same threads. We might add escape from custody as a thread. However, depending on what happens in this episode, in this next little bit, I think that will help determine if we add that as a thread or not. Question I have now is, do I want to add Tara as a character? I still have Hormaz on here as a character, even though he is gone. I still have several other people who's Anselm has met. I actually think I will. I'm going to add Tara as a character because she seems very sympathetic to Anselm and to Hormaz, being someone who has gone through psionic training and living in this subsector where just having psionics can make you a criminal. I see that she might be sympathetic to Hormaz and Anselm and knows that they're really not up to anything bad. So I'm going to add Tara to a character. We'll see if she stays on there. Anyway, so that is the updating of the list. So last time we ended, Tara said she had a plan, and she does have a plan. I'm going to say she communicates some of that to Anselm, but not going to say it out loud. We will play through it as I have it in my brain, and we'll see what happens if it actually goes the way she expects. Here's kind of what I think is going to happen. So I feel like what's going to happen, they will not necessarily send a transport from Vilmork directly to this base. They would have to get Anselm from this base to a main hub, a place, maybe a larger detention facility in Hessia Prime somewhere on the planet. And then the transport from Vilmork would come over, get Anselm, and then take him back. So I do believe that they have to get him from this base to a larger detention area. And I think that is where Tara is going to try to help. So my assumption, now we have to test the scene. So my assumed next scene is that Anselm is being put in binders, some sort of restraints, and it is time to transport him. And I want to say that it is Tara and Avery, both of the pilots are being sent on the modular cutter to transport Anselm from where he is to this naval base into this larger detention center. So that is my expected scene. But we're going to test, as always. And as always, I have to look up exactly how that works. Now I know I have to roll less than my chaos factor, but then I always forget what odd and even means. Here we go. Let's see what we got here. So, rolling the D10, and if we roll lower than our chaos factor 7, that yes, we have a different scene than I've planned. So what do we get? I rolled a 10, so it is over. So we do not have a change to our scene. It actually plays out the way I'm assuming. So we do have people come in. Anselm is covered. He is put in some sort of restraints. He is taken to the modular cutter, and Tara and Avery both get on there. They file a flight plan. They check out the cutter. They make sure everything's fine. And yeah, and I think that's it. I think that's all that happens. I'm sure David Jen gives some instructions. Is Zoe still there? That's a question. Is Zoe Say still on the base? after they are transporting Anselm to the next facility, I don't know that she would stay. So, with a chaos factor of 7, I'm going to say that it is just, I'm going to say it's unlikely that she's still there, but that is a 65% chance or less that, yes, that Zoe is still on the base. 51, yes, Zoe is still there. She's staying there. She is wrapping up her mission, making sure that Anselm does leave. Here, now this would complicate things. Is Zoe going to go with them? Because Tara's got a plan. Avery's going. Would Zoe go? I don't know. That's a question. Let's ask the Mythic chart, the Mythic Fate chart. Oh, I'm going to say, would she go? You know what? I don't know. So I'm just going to say 50-50. That's actually a 75% chance or less that yes, Zoe will go with them to transport Anselm to the larger detention facility. So does she go? Let's see. Oh, 80, no, she does not. She has full confidence that Tara and Avery can do this without her assistance or her supervising the situation. So, phew, Tara breathes a slight sigh of relief simply because having one more person on the ship while Tara puts her plan into action, and also having an agent of the Imperial Psionic Enforcement Bureau there while she's probably going to use some of her psionic abilities could be problematic, as you might imagine. So that's what happens. So we do have Anselm is in the modular cutter. I'm sure they probably seal that up and make that as secure as possible in the parts you can change out on the modular cutter. So that is sealed up. That is in there. That is he is secured in that area. And we do have Avery and Tara who are going to fly this over to the next place that they're going to send Anselm. Now, I do need to look something up. So part of the plan that I think Tara has is obviously going to be using some of her psionic abilities. But I do need to look something up. And I did a little of this before we started recording, but I thought I would give you a little bit of my reasoning. And if you remember, Tara has telepathy. That is her power. So she has life detection. She has telepathy, which is handling animals and beasts of burden. Read surface thoughts, send thoughts, probe, assault, shield, experience. Okay. Well, experience is how she gets more of her abilities. Okay, so as you might imagine, assault is what Tara is thinking of doing. So let's see. An unshielded mind, the result is automatic unconsciousness and possible death. We'll have to see. Hopefully not. Let's see. Character receive wounds. Okay, so this is what happens. If you do a telepathic assault on a non-shielded mind, let's see. An unshielded mind, when assaulted telepathically, is rendered unconscious immediately, and the character receives wounds equal to 2d plus 6. Oh, dear. That could be very, very bad. Okay, so if Tara does this telepathic assault onto Avery, she could actually kill her, and that would be bad. So there is a little bit of danger for Tara trying to do this telepathic assault on Avery, because she could kill her. Tara does not want to do that. She does not want to kill Avery. But got a couple of rolls I want to make, though, for a couple of different things. First of all, I want to find out what's Avery's attitudes towards psionics and psionic individuals. Because I've rolled that up a couple of times when the people have encountered psionic, or if they were dealing with Anselm. So let's find out what is Avery's reaction. So we're going to roll on page 101, the reactions table. This is specifically her attitude towards psionics and psionics people. That's going to be a 4. That is hostile. So she is very much against psionic individuals. Matter of fact, that is hostile attack on 8 or more. So yeah, if Avery knew that Tara was a psionic active individual, Avery might just attack her. She might just shoot her. So I still don't think Tara wants to kill Avery, but it is something that may happen. So, back here in the Traveler book, there are some generic personnel UPPs, pre-generated characters. We have thugs, brigands, and assailants. And yeah, I think that's what we're going to use. So, let's see, we've got 33 of these. I am going to roll randomly just to see what I use. So here's what I'm going to do. Since we have, so that'd be 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's actually 4. I'm going to roll a d4. I know, strangely enough, for a traveler, but I'm going to roll a d4 to see which of these chunks I use and then narrow it down from there. 1. So the first area, so that's 1 to 10. So let's roll a d10. Rolling a d10, that is 1. So the very first set there, and that is 9, 5, C, 4, 9, 8. And C is the strength, dex, and endurance, right? So she'll take 2d plus 6. If we do it like combat, we will roll randomly to see which of those. Oh dear, so that could be a lot. 6. Well, that's going to be 9. Oh heavens. So yeah, that could. If she takes 2 wounds, and you would roll randomly. So if we went to her endurance, she'd probably be okay. If we went to her dexterity, she could be in trouble. Let me, before I do all of this, check out in combat. So when you take wounds, you do subtract your damage from one of your randomly determined physical stats. And then when that goes to 0, you subtract it from another one. And then if you have 2 that go to 0, is that when you get in trouble? All right. Okay, so unconscious characters with 2 characteristics reduced to 0 are considered seriously wounded and recover consciousness after 3 hours. This is page 36 in the Traveler book. Okay, so, yeah, more than likely Avery could die, but more than likely she will be seriously wounded and would recover consciousness after 3 hours. Okay, so that's where we are. That's what could happen. All right. With that being said, I still think that is what's going to happen. So back to the story. Tara and Avery are on the modular cutter. They do take off. They do head out, heading towards this detention center outside of a major city on Hessia Prime. And they are heading out. I kind of feel like as they're heading out, they're talking back and forth about a variety of things that are on the base, talking about Anselm, talking about what's going on. I think more than likely Avery is saying, well, I, for one, am glad we're getting rid of this person. We don't need his kind on the base. And the fact that he brought one of those people on our base, why are we even worrying about? Just send him to Vilmore and leave him there, let him rot. And I can see Tara, being a psionic individual, saying, well, you know, I kind of feel like maybe there's more to the story than we know. I think maybe there's other things going on. You know, I understand he's done a bad thing by bringing this psionic person onto the base, but maybe there's some sort of extenuating circumstances. And Avery's like, no, there can't be. No, he did this on purpose. This was a calculated act. He is probably doing some sort of espionage. Maybe he's even trying to infiltrate from the Endorians. How do we know? Have a feeling they might know because of some of these scuttlebutt, a little bit of Anselm's history, some of his lineage. So I can see Avery saying, oh, well, you know what they say. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. I'm sure he was trying to continue his father's work. And Tara's like, no, well, I think that's a bit harsh, really, Avery. I mean, we can't be responsible for what our families do. I mean, maybe he made an honest mistake, maybe. But Avery's not hearing it. She is totally against this. All right. They are flying around. I also kind of feel like Avery does not know. Well, probably no one knows that Tara is psionic because, again, it is illegal, I think, just to have psionics. And definitely you could not be a member of the Imperial Navy and have psionics. So Avery does not know that, which is good for both of them. Anyway, so I kind of feel this is what happens. As they're flying along, they get to a certain area, and I kind of see it since Avery is very anti-psionic and extremely down on psionics to the point where she would attack somebody if they were psionic. I have a feeling after a while, Tara listens to her talk and she just shakes her head, kind of maybe glances towards her, and does launch her telepathic assault. So, hits automatically, don't have to roll for that, knocks her unconscious, but we do need to see how much damage does she inflict and what is the result of that. So, we're going to roll 2d6 and add 6. So, we'll see exactly how much damage she is going to do. That's going to be 5. Okay, so not too bad. That is 11 points of damage. And using our pre-generated character back here. Let's find you. Where are you? I just found you. There you are, 157. So yeah, we have 9, 5, C. So strength, dex, and endurance. So let's roll d6. So 1 and 2 will be the strength, 3 and 4 will be dexterity, 5 and 6 will be endurance. So what do we apply this to? 6, that's endurance. Good, because taking 11 points, her endurance is C. C is, so A is 10, B is 11, C would be 12. Okay, so she is down to 1 endurance point. So she is not dead, but she is knocked unconscious automatically. Right. Unshielded mind when assaulted telepathically is rendered unconscious immediately. All right. She receives wounds, so she is hurt, but she is not going to die. Phew. Smith, they're talking. Yes. Tara kind of looks over the side. Suddenly, Avery jerks and hangs limp in the seat. I'm going to say they're out over an area that is kind of wild. Not a lot of habitation, not a lot of people to see what's going on. And I'm going to say the modular cutter does come in and it kind of stops, and they land in a little clearing area. And Tara does sit down. She turns off any kind of transponder, anything that would be a mechanism by which they could be tracked. So she does turn that off, and she gets out of her harness. She gets out of her seat. She opens up whatever kind of security they have in the modular part of the modular cutter, goes back there. Anselm has been sitting there amazed. He's like, what's happened? Why are we? She's like, I've got it figured out. I'm going to release you. I'm going to go back to the front. Actually, no. I'm going to release you. We need to bring Avery back here, and you need to stun me. Anselm says, I need to what? She says, you need to hit me with a stun rod. We're going to hit Avery with a stun rod, and then you can let go of the module in the cutter. Then you can take the cutter off. Anselm's like, this is your plan? Avery's like, yes. Do you have a better one? I'm willing to listen if you have a better idea, but I kind of feel like in the amount of time we have, this is the thing to do, and we need to do this quickly. So Anselm does stand up. Tara gets him out of his binders. They run and get Avery, bring her back, put her in the cutter, and they do have some sort of stun rod, I'm going to say. They do have weapons, so they have some, whatever might be standard issue. I guess they would have like pistols and maybe a rifle. I don't think they would have any kind of laser equipment here. And they do have what am I trying to say? Stun rods, some sort of thing where you could use. And I could see if they were transporting Anselm, being a prisoner, you might just want to shoot him if he got rowdy, but you'd have a stun rod, you could stun him. So that is what they have, and that's what Tara's going to do. So they do bring Avery back there, making sure to not leave prints everywhere. She takes the stun rod. She takes her stun rod. She hits Avery, so we can see that there is a wound. She's like, psh. She says, lays down a plot. She says, okay. She says, you need to stun me. And she sort of shows him, the neck or the side or wherever it needs to be done. He's like, you seem to really be versed in doing all this. Tara says, yeah, this is the kind of thing we learn at the Sonic Institute. Not only how to control our abilities, but how to make it look like maybe we don't have abilities. It's just look, we got to go. Does Tara know a place for him to go now that this has happened and he is going to get away? Does she know where he can go to lay low? That's a good question. I'm going to say, though, that's likely. I kind of feel like she has planned this in advance, a lot of it. So I'm going to say that's an 85% chance or less. Tara does know where Anselm can go. And that is a 91. Nope, she ain't got no idea. Not in the slightest. She doesn't know. She's just getting him this far, and then it's up to Anselm to head out after that. So she lays down. I can see Anselm saying, Tara, I understand you've taken a huge risk to help me. I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. If there's some way I can repay you in the future, I will definitely try to repay this kindness. Tara's like, that's okay. I know you're trying to help Hormaz, and I kind of want to help you any way you can. And again, don't worry, Hormaz is fine. People that I know that I trust have him, and so he'll be okay. Anselm says, thank you, Tara. And he does, by way of expressions of gratitude, zap her with a stun rod, and she just kind of jerks a little bit and does go out. Anselm runs to the front. He does disengage the modular part of the modular cutter, leaving it here, and he does lift off with the frame, the ship part of the modular cutter. Okay, so he is going to be able to get away here. Tara turned off the transponder, so nobody will be able to track it. Anselm knows that he can't go too far. He probably shouldn't go to a large area to leave this modular cutter somewhere. So I feel like he should try to find a smaller area. It would be better if it was a place that was a little sketchy. I don't know if he could find that, but if he found a smaller settlement, he may be able to land it and then find transport, because now he is without the Raven as well, which is a big problem, which also means that he probably doesn't. Oh, Anselm doesn't have nothing. You know what? He doesn't have any of his credits. I can see none of his credits being with him, maybe just very few. He doesn't have any of his weapons. He doesn't have any of his equipment that we bought early on. I can see it's him and a jumpsuit. Oh, did they put an extra flight suit? Can he put on something other than his, did they put him in a jumpsuit? That's a question. Did they put him like in a prisoner jumpsuit? Did they take away his clothing and put him in this? I don't know that they would do that on the naval base, but let's ask, because that could be an extra little complication for Anselm. So let's see. I'm going to say that's very unlikely, which is still 50-50. So let's see what we get here. 98. Oh, and I believe that is exceptional. No, so no. As a matter of fact, he has his normal clothing, whatever he was wearing when he arrived here or on the naval base. So he has that. And let's see, since that's an exceptional no, that they did not, I can't imagine, though, that he would have his credits, though. I kind of feel that would be, well, I kind of feel that they would have confiscated anything on him other than his clothes. So yeah, he doesn't have his credits, doesn't have any of his equipment. He actually also will never fill out the mystery matrix, unfortunately. As an aside, this is the second special little subsystem that I've wanted to use for Mythic that has not gone to its fruition. I tried to do the exploration area when we were exploring the broken up ship on the Zerazian planet, and now I'm trying to do the mystery matrix, and things have gone awry, and he can't complete this. So, poor Hormoz, poor Anselm, and poor Hormoz, but poor Anselm, poor Anselm. You know, Patron's just not the best thing for Anselm to get involved with. So Anselm has his clothes, so he knows that. So he is going to try to find a little town where he can maybe land this thing, go into it, get transport to a bigger place where he can get on a crew to head out somewhere else and maybe somehow get a hold of a way to get to Endoria. So those are all my questions. So first question is, can he find, is there a small town nearby? Can he find somewhere to take this modular cutter, leave it, and then go get transport to another place? Again, without credits, it's going to be tough to do, though. Let's see. Oh, maybe he could he find like maybe a sketch junkyard? Well, let's do one thing at a time. Can he find a small town as he's scanning? I feel that that's very likely. That's a 90% chance or less that he can. Doing a scan. Ooh, close though. 80. Yes, he does. He does find a scan. He does find a very small town, not too far from where he is. It is a bit off the beaten path. It is not. He looks for a place that is not a direct line from where he started to where he was going to end up. He does take a bit of a detour going somewhere, hopefully that it'll be a little more difficult for them to find. Again, the transponder is off on the modular cutter, so he does come wing again. He does find a smaller place to land. He does, and he gets out. Now, he's got to find some money. What is he going to do to find some money? Is there, I guess that's the question, if he could find a ship here that was looking for a crew, he could volunteer and possibly be a crew member. The question about that is, though, does Anselm have any skills that would be a big help? Oh, he actually has Pilot 1, so he could, I believe, with Pilot 1, he could get a job as a pilot. He also has Gunnery 1, so he could get a job as a gunner. And then Jack of all trades is helpful for everything. Electronics of 2, so possibly. I think, though, that is going to be the first question. When he arrives at the small town, and I should probably come up with, is there a town name generator? Let's find that. Is there one in the D66 companion? I don't know that there is, but let's find out. All right, yeah, let's name this place. There are some spaceport city names in the D66 companion on page 22. So let's see what we get with one of those. Again, the white dice is going to be my first die. on a D6 table. That is 2 and 6. That is going to be Dayton. He's gone to the small town of Dayton. I don't think this is Ohio. Maybe a totally different Dayton. But he goes to a small town of Dayton, and he is, first of all, looking to see if there is a ship leaving the planet, hopefully, that he can try to be a crew member on. So, let's find out. Since this is, we've already said it's a small town, I'm going to say ships going back and forth that need a crew. I'm going to say that's actually unlikely. I'm going to say that's very unlikely, to be honest. He is in a small town. I feel like if you're going interstellarly from one system to another, yeah, they're looking for crew, but I don't think it's likely going from just town to town here. Well, maybe let's take a step back. Is there actually an interstellar ship leaving from this small town of Dayton? That I'm going to say is nearly impossible. Just the vision I have of the small town, I sort of see it to be a very small, rural, out-of-the-way town, which is great, so he can leave this modular cutter here, and he can, get away, hopefully without too many people recognize him or without too much problem later. But the downside of that is there's probably not an interstellar ship leaving from the small town. So he's going to have to get to a bigger town, again, risk more exposure, and then try to get off the planet. So that's what he's going to try to do. So all of that being said, I do feel like the chances of an interstellar ship leaving the small little town of Dayton to be very nearly impossible, as I say. So 35% chance or less that, yes, there is an interstellar ship. 25. By amazing coincidence, yes, there is. There is a ship that is leaving from the small town of Dayton here on Hessia Prime, and they're leaving out. Okay, well, I think that means we need to do a little more figuring out about this ship. So let's find out what is the name of the ship, and let's determine where they are going. First of all, what kind of ship is it? Let's see. Well, probably not a scout. Could be a free trader. Could be a subsidized merchant or a subsidized liner. Don't think it would be a yacht. Probably not a mercenary cruiser, patrol, laboratory ship, or safari ship. I'm going to say, how many do I have that I really think it is? So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5 that I think it might be. And honestly, I think it's very unlikely that it would be a safari ship or a laboratory ship leaving from this tiny little town. So I'm going to say more than likely it's a free trader. And I'm going to roll a D6. And if I roll a 6, it is something else. Otherwise, it's going to be a free trader leaving from 4. So it is a free trader. It is a free trader leaving the small town of Dayton and Hessia Prime. So let's roll up a couple of things so we know a little bit more. Let's find the name of this ship. There is, if I remember correctly in this document, there are ship names, space station names, ships. Aha! We have 6 tables of ships, or ship names, I should say, from the D66 compendium. So let's roll. Which table are we going to use? Excuse me. Which table are we going to use? 3. Table number 3. All right, and again, a D66 table. So once again, wide as high. What is the name of the ship? 35. It is going to be the, I always get the words I don't know how to pronounce. Hwaurren. Hwaurren. Okay, before I get too far down that road, and nobody wants me to go there, let's write this down. So he does find a free trader. Make some notes here. The free trader Hwaurren, and what sort of things. Let me roll up and see what kind of cargo they might have. Let's find the trade section in the book. Let's see, where is that? Vehicles, trade and commerce, 104. 104. All right, and I'm going to do a slightly modified version of finding out what is available on the planet. We're going to roll and see what this thing has. So, you know what we should do? We should take a step back and look what are the trade codes of Hessia Prime, because that would also help determine what they might have. So, let's do that first of all. As an aside, while I'm getting my information and calling up files on my computer, I do have the map of the subsector that I generated that I've shown a couple of times. And I do have a list of the different planets. Do you guys want to see that? Would that be worthwhile? Should I put that somewhere where you guys can actually download it and see it and possibly follow along at home? let me know in the comments if you want to see my subsector information map and information. All right, let's see. Here we are. Here we are. All right, subsector info. And we are on Hessia Prime. Hessia Prime. So, oh, it is a garden world. And it is NI. What is NI? Let me see if we have that. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I recently found Mongoose Traveler, first edition, in the same used bookstore where I found this Traveler book. So, I think those trade codes may be in here. So, let's see. Let's see. I know GA means garden world, so it means yes. More than likely, what he's going to have is going to be, or what this far trader would have would be free trader. What the free trader would have would be some sort of agricultural thing. Trade codes. Woohoo! All right. So GA is garden world. Garden world is our Earth-like, and NI is non-industrial. Duh. You would think I would know that. So non-industrial worlds are too low population to maintain an industrial base. So that means there are not a lot of people. Ooh, so it might be lucky. Oh, that kind of makes more sense why a trader may be coming out of this small town, because it's a small town. Maybe there are large agricultural places around there, small amount of population, so they have to go where the stuff is. Maybe there's not enough of an infrastructure to get from this small town of Dayton to the bigger cities. You need to come to Dayton to get whatever they have. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Thank you, Mongoose Traveler book. All right, let's check this out. So what do they have? Let's see. So more than likely we have things in here. Textiles, polymers, liquor, wood. It looks like most of the things that are agricultural are in the 30s. Grain, meat, spices, fruit. Then pharmaceuticals, gems, firearms. I can't see any of that. All right, so I'm just going to roll here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 options, really. I guess 5 could be wood. And, yeah, I don't spend a lot of time on this. So we're going to do a D4. Doing a D4, grain, meat, spices, or fruit. So what are they carrying? 1, that is grain. So they are carrying large amounts of grain. And where are they going? That is going to require me to look at the map that I have. I will also try to pop that up so you can see that. Well, let's look at the map of this part of the subsector. Here we are. Here we are. This is the hard copy right here. Again, I'll try to pop it up where you can see a little better what I'm talking about. But let's see. So they're on Hessia Prime. They do have a 2 jump they could get to Uniri. 1 jump they could get back to Takalon, which I don't know if Anselm really wants to go there, but at this point, he may not have a whole lot of options. So going back to Takalon may be his only option. That is an A starport at Takalon. Let's look real quick. What information do I have about Takalon? That is hex 0602. Let me look that up. 060 Takalon is agricultural, garden, HT, and non-industrial. So perhaps a little bit of Uniri. 302. 302. Navy. Desert, non-industrial, and poor. So that seems like where they would go. Let me look here again real quick. Let me go back to the Mongoose Traveler book. Look back here again. And make sure I do have those trade codes correct. All right. Here we are. So yes, DE is a desert world. Dry and barely habitable. And I did say it was desert. Come here. Where are you? Yes, desert, non-industrial, and PO, which I believe means poor. Yes, lack resources, viable land, or sufficient population to be anything other than marginal colonies. So they definitely need grain. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense that this ship would be heading to Uniri. So that is where they're heading, which is good because it is further away from where he was, a little further away from Zarazia and Hessia Prime, and gets him a little bit closer to Endorian space to see if he can find his dad. So all in all, this is actually, in a way, possibly going to work out good for Anselm, which would be nice for a change. Let's be honest. All right, let's do pop you guys there. Okay, so it is going there. And let's see, what do they need? First of all, let's roll to see if they need somebody. This would be really bad with all this if it turns out they don't need anybody. But I'm going to roll to see. Do they need a crew member? And I'm going to say small planet, not a small planet, small town out of nowhere. Yeah, maybe. I do not know. So let's see. That's going to be 50-50 chance, honestly. I think 75% chance or less that, yes, they are looking for somebody to fill out their crew. So come on. 74. Oh, but like this close. Yeah, yes. Do you guys need any crew member? They're like, no, we're good. No, wait, actually, no. Tim left. Forgot. Tim left. Yeah, we actually do need somebody. Okay, so let's do a couple of things real quick. Let's find out what position they need, because he is qualified, like I say, to be a pilot or a gunner. I don't think that they would need a steward on the free trader. Free traders, they do require a crew of 4, a pilot, engineer, a medic, and a steward. Okay, so he technically could be a steward. This is going to be another question. Again, trying to get it all together in my brain. Do they have any passengers? Is it just green, or do they have passengers? Again, I'm going to say that's 50-50. So are there any passengers going along on this? No. So no passengers, but that is doubles, and that is equal to or less than our chaos factor. So we have a random event. This always goes so well for Anselm. We have random events. That's how I got put in the brig. What is our random event? Let's roll our random event focus table. D100, what is the focus of this random event? 49. NPC positive. All right. Well, that's good. Be better if it was a PC positive, but we will take anything we get, right? Let's see. Who is this character going to be? We have several. So first of all, let's roll a D4 to see which chunk. By the way, this is the newer version of the adventure list that come from the 2nd edition Mythic Game Master emulator. So you have them in really nice little chunked out tables, so you know exactly what die to roll. So this is going to be a D4 to see which of these 2 sections that I roll on. 2, that's going to be the first section. We have 10 of those. And so who is this for? I rolled an 8. Oh, that is Ren the Pirate Captain. Something good. An NPC positive has happened for Ren the Pirate Captain. If you remember, a long time ago when Anselm was with Simon the Diplomat and they were trying to find the mind control device that they thought was on the first planet of the Rasian system, Ren the Pirate Captain showed up saying, give us your information or we're going to, attack you. And they did. We actually had a space combat. But what is this positive that happens for Ren the Pirate Captain? Oh, I have an idea, but let's see what the tables tell us. So 64, observe. Is Ren the Pirate Captain here and sees Anselm? 35, observe friend. Okay, I don't know that we could call Anselm a friend of Ren, but he is known to him, and I'm going to say that's exactly what happens. For some amazing coincidence, some random chaotic event, as Anselm is meeting the crew of this free trader, what's the name again? The Horaran, in the same area is Ren, the pirate captain, who recognizes Anselm. He sees him like, that's the young lad who was hanging out with that Simon individual. Yeah, wonder what's he brings him here. I owe him. All right. And I can only guess that his crew, with his ship, the Anastasia, are here as well. Let's just roll. Is he here by himself, or does he have the whole ship? I kind of feel like he has the whole ship. But again, let's roll. Fate chart. What can you tell us? I'm going to say this is likely that he would have the crew with him. So that's 85% chance or less. 77. Another random event. All right, so let's finish this one out, and then we roll another random event. So, yes. So Ren is here with the crew of the Anastasia. They have come to this small little town of Dayton, but he does see Anselm, recognizes him, and knows that that's somebody he feels like he has a score to settle with. We might be doing some more space combat in a couple of episodes. Hence. All right, so that is the first. So Ren has noticed Anselm, knows he's there as Anselm is trying to get a job getting off this planet. Let's go with our next random event. What is the second random event focus? 47. That is also NPC positive. Wow. NPCs are making out great so far. Who is this NPC? As I shift books and papers around. Which NPC is this? Same kind of thing. First of all, a D4 for which tables. The first set again. And D10. 6 is Simon, the diplomat, who has been released from Zerazian custody several episodes back. And it is a positive for him. Okay. Let's see what that positive is. Let's roll for our action again. And 07 is going to be assist. Assist 55. I'm not going to count that as random event, even though maybe I should. Not going to. 55. Assist misfortune. I know exactly what happens. All right. Ren, the pirate captain, sees in this small little starport they're at. And I'm going to say this probably was a place that they go from. This is not really a starport. This is a loading little trade depot, maybe. And the free trader that Anselm's on is actually going to go to a starport and then leave. They're just loading up here. Then they're going to the starport. Then they will leave. But assist misfortune, I just feel that, yes, Ren sees Anselm, smiles to himself, goes back to the ship, the Anastasia, with his crew getting the Anastasia ready to take off. He does push a button on one of the cabins. You hear somebody say, "Yes, come in." The door opens, and Ren says, "You'll never imagine who I just saw here at the trade hub. Our old friend, the scout, Anselm." And if this was a TV show, we would spin around and we'd see Simon the diplomat sitting on the Anastasia with his fingers steepled saying, "Indeed. Well, this is a rather fortunate surprise. Perhaps we should say hello to our old associate." Ooh. Ooh. I have to say, I'm far more excited about this than maybe I should be. But I'm going to say that's all we have for today. So, Anselm is going to attempt to be part of this crew, not knowing that just a little ways away, his old associate and potentially upcoming adversary, Simon, is watching what's happening. Oh, this is good. This is good. Yeah, this is great. This makes me excited. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. Like, subscribe, bell icon, all those great YouTube things. If you do know somebody that likes Classic Traveler or somebody that likes solo roleplay or the two of them together, please feel free to send them a link and send them this way. And I will see you next time.